Why does this always start on me? I'm not the one who introduces the show anymore. Stefano, go.
Wait. Oh.
Yeah,
Are we live?
We're recording. Go
Are we
ahead.
live? Did you get that to the left joke on camera?
No, I did not.
I guess apparently because I'm a rude asshat and I interrupt Mike all the time. I liked Mike's introductions, but now I guess I have the job now. So
I give up.
I'm gonna run with it. I got the job. I'm a loudmouth.
I just wanted to be very clear that your to the left joke was not a racist black people joke. That was like a
no. I said to the left.
Joke.
To the left. Your political view should align to the left. To the left. That's what Beyonce was saying. She's saying move towards socialism. I know, I've heard that one, and I've also heard I've heard a sexist version. I've heard a sexist version of it too.
Okay, good.
But I thought it was just a song about where her boxes go, right?
All right then, Mike. This is why you don't do the intros anymore. This is why I've taken your position.
Well, I was like,
so
whoa.
we are the Leg Kick Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in on this beautiful Friday ahead of one of the most anticipated cards in MMA history. We've got Khabib versus Justin Gaethje. We've got Whitaker versus Jared Cannonier. And we've got Alexander Volkov versus Walt Harris. This is a stacked card that I'm anticipating. Anytime Khabib's in a main event, it's hotly anticipated. So
remember when Ferguson versus Poirier was going to be on this card, and Islam Makhachev versus Dos Anjos?
Oh, I forgot about that. Oh, ooh.
And then one guy tested positive for coronavirus, and then the other guy was getting lowballed.
The gods of MMA were like, "How dare they put on such an illustrious card? We cannot allow this."
To be fair, the UFC does this a lot, and I think I actually like it. When they have like a really big fight, they'll actually stack the card with other amazing fights as well.
A la UFC 200, a la UFC 202. Yeah, I can think of a couple examples. For sure, the UFC does fan service well. Like, as much as we rag on them and as much as we should hold them accountable, they're good at fan service. Sometimes. But they give us the fight.
Who was getting lowballed?
Poirier. Poirier was getting lowballed, and then Ferguson, in a show of support, didn't accept any other fights.
That's the kind of solidarity amongst fighters we need, right?
Do you think Tony Ferguson should be fighting right now?
Yes. Actually, they were going to set up...
Wait, hold on. Fighting at all, or fighting
like,
because he needs
to... now, like on this card?
Probably not. No, I think he's made a lot of decisions that are not wise for his overall health, and I think do the Brian Ortega approach. If you need to take 2 years off, take 2 years off, right?
Agreed.
Wasn't the fight in May? It's been 7 months, no?
Like 7 months to recover from that kind of beating? It could be.
Yeah, no, I remember it was a lot worse than
it was bad.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Visceral. That was a vicious beating, man.
Yeah, it was worse than I remember.
On Instagram, also, just related to that, on Instagram, I guess as kind of a promo to this card, the UFC released the Gaethje versus Ferguson fight. With no sound and just like the sound of Justin Gaethje smacking Tony Ferguson in the head. Man,
dude, they are not bitter at all. They are not bitter at all. Man,
I don't understand it. I don't get it. People on Instagram were going crazy. They were like, yeah, but like, man,
here's what happened.
Perspective.
And here's I always say it. Here's what happened. Here's what happened. When the UFC doesn't like you, they try to put you in the most unflattering light as possible.
Oh, for sure.
Right? Sometimes for better and for worse.
Like
right?
with Fyodor?
Huh?
Like with Fyodor?
Yep. And with Leon Edwards, which if you guys want to talk about, we could do a
We can definitely talk
bumping
about
him down in the rankings. Mind you, the UFC
crazy.
doesn't have any control over those rankings, I don't think, but even still, it's like, geez. And yet Conor is ranked in a division that he hasn't fought in years. But let's do a quick deep dive into the news. I haven't introduced us because okay, let me introduce us real quick. We have today, on today's panel of all-star MMA analysts and journalists, we have fighting out of Ottawa, Ontario, by way of Etobicoke, Ontario.
He went to St. Teresa. What are you talking about?
A man with a record of 14 assaults upon our ears with feminist slam poetry. And his name is David Agbaire.
Oh,
I knew it. I was like, there's no way you couldn't butcher it. And now, forever, I want you to butcher that last name. I want you to do it.
It's going to get worse and worse. It's going to get worse and worse. Next, out of the blue corner, fighting out of Maple, Ontario, by way of Ghana. He is the descendant of the very real and very colonialist Ghanaian Empire.
I love how that's such an inside joke that no one else but poor people are going to get.
Sometimes he dresses up like a Vietnamese rice farmer on camera. Why? I don't know. He's pretty right-wing. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael.
I'm a dirty conservative.
Melanin Mike. Asiffo.
I'm a dirty conservative.
Melanin Mike.
Magic Melanin Mike.
Right. And then finally, we have a god in the cage. The closest thing to perfection you've ever seen. An absolute animal. His MMA takes are the best I've ever seen. Fortunately, unfortunately, he's not here today. I'm talking about Jeremy Asiffo. In the place of him, we got a pillow. And then we got myself. I'm pretty cool too, I guess.
Man, that's the first time you've actually said something nice about Jeremy. I'm gonna.
Bro, I love Jeremy.
Gonna clip that. I know, but you just usually don't say anything nice on camera.
Listen, I can't let him know to his face that I like him. Okay, he's got to, you gotta, give him a little bit of crap every once in a while. So, a couple pieces of news. We'll start off with a couple fight announcements.
All right, let me stall in the meantime. Hey, Heidi, ho, hey.
Oh my God!
So
nice. You can edit this, right?
Yes, I could.
a very.
But I'm too lazy for that.
All right, settle down, children. A very interesting fight getting booked right after his devastating knockout loss to Corey Sandhagen. Marlon Moraes booked against Rob Font.
I like it. I like it a lot.
I like it. I just don't like it at this time. Banging fight.
Yeah.
For who? Who do you like for?
I like the fight in general. Like I really like Rob Font as a mixed martial artist.
He's a fun fighter.
He's fun.
Great striking, the Boston finisher.
Yeah.
But
good boxer.
Great boxer. I just don't. One of the best boxers in the division. It's just I have serious reservations about fighters taking these quick turnarounds after they've been knocked out.
But you know what? Marlon wants it, right? I think Marlon thinks that he needs to get a quick turnaround.
Yeah, a heroin addict wants another syringe, but that doesn't mean it's what's best for their health.
No, fair enough. Some guys can do it, though. Some guys need that, like, hey, I got to get back in there. And some guys, I just don't. Some guys need that, like, Brian Ortega 2-year layoff, right?
Listen, man, I've been saying it for a long time. The same quality that lends fighters to have great performances and believe in themselves irrationally is the same quality that A, leads them to winning titles, and B, leads them to fighting at 45 years old, getting knocked out their past 7 fights. I'm looking at you, BJ Penn. It's a respectable quality, but fighters have to be saved from themselves. Even if he can pull this off, is it really what's best for his long-term career? I would say no. It's like Ferguson. He may have won that fight against Anthony Pettis. Was it really what's best for his long-term health?
Hell no.
Hell no. So,
but at the same time, and this is the thing, you're fighting. You know what I'm saying? So it's weird. It's weird because of course we care. And
but they are fighting, yes.
We want to make this.
Are we stating truisms now?
No, I'm just saying. Stefano, I'm just saying, right? This is something that inherently has dangers to it. And inherently you need to have this weird self-belief to be able to believe that you're going to come out of it unscathed. And when that's gone, then I don't care if you're 23, 33, 43, 53, 83, 103. You should stop.
I know, I agree with what you said, but at the same time, while you have that self-belief, you need to be protected from yourself because this is dangerous. That's why we do everything we can to mitigate unnecessary dangers. Mm-hmm. That's why we have a referee. That's why we don't give both competitors baseball bats. That's why we disallow eye pokes, right?
And that's why we have a commission with mandatory suspensions. I hear you, right? And that's, but it's weird. How come they didn't give Moraes a mandatory suspension? Didn't he break his orbital?
I don't know. Sometimes the mandatory suspensions are a joke. Depends on where it is.
Did he break his orbital? Was that confirmed?
The mandatory suspensions, though, they're like the UFC.
They're like 90 days, right? If you get knocked out, you get a 90-day mandatory.
Which is a joke, and sometimes the UFC will take you around to different places where the suspension doesn't apply. For example, remember Michael Bisping after he got basically knocked out and then choked by George St. Pierre?
Yeah, and then they took him to Shanghai. And then he got knocked out again in like inside a round.
Exactly. So the suspensions are more like suggestions and limitations as far as where the fight can be held, in my opinion.
Aren't the suspensions given out by like state
commissions. Exactly. But
Exactly.
That's the problem.
Which the problem is, if you're the Nevada State Athletic Commission and, you suspend somebody, you can't take that fighter to New York because it's still within the same country, but you can take them to a different country.
Exactly.
And the UFC currently is fighting in Abu Dhabi, so
Literally, yeah. Who's the state commission? I haven't even heard the talk of an athletic commission in Fight Island. Have you?
Oh hell no. Sorry, can
Okay.
I say hell? Can I say hell? I know it's a Christian podcast.
Oh, jeez.
Can I say the word heck? Wow, that's heckin' bad, guys.
The one thing I want to say is
we're on a podcast where we talk about people bludgeoning each other halfway to death, giving each other brain trauma, but God forbid I drop a few F words.
Yeah.
Okay,
Look, the woman who owns this
I
studio.
know. I'm just trying to be a
All right.
relentless troll.
respectful. The one thing I was going to say about Moraes was, I have to double check his age. I don't think he's older than 35 yet. I still think he's like early 30s, so he can't be.
He's a younger lad. He is a younger lad.
Exactly. Hold on.
But so is Jose Aldo, and I want him to leave.
He's 32. No, so I think he's still young enough that he can still compete relatively soon after a fight, even if it was a devastating loss. Obviously, if he has like brain trauma and like something seriously wrong after his knockout, then he definitely should not be competing.
Wait.
Definitely not.
Of course he has brain trauma.
Pardon?
Of course he has brain trauma. You don't not get brain trauma.
All fighters have brain trauma after a fight. So, I mean, there's levels to this, So,
Except for me. No, I'm kidding.
all fighters have brain trauma after a fight.
Mike's
If you're
trying to
getting
rub
hit
in the
on
fact that
head-
I got a lot of brain trauma in my last fight. I get it, Mike. I get it.
Yeah, like you don't even
Very
have to be a
underhanded of
fighter.
you.
If you're playing any sport where it's your job to get hit on the head repeatedly, like you're gonna come out of each session pretty much with some kind of brain trauma.
Yeah, and young fighters out there is no amount of acceptable or good brain trauma to take, right?
No, for sure.
all brain trauma is bad brain trauma.
Yeah, sure.
It all
At
adds
the
up.
same time, don't like live a sheltered life. Yeah, still get some brain trauma in your life, But
Yeah, bang your head against the wall. Eat those lead paint chips. Live your life.
I was also going to say he's also Brazilian, so he's probably used to this. Brazilian fighters are notorious for fighting soon after like underground fights.
Hella active.
They're notorious for fighting like a lot of fights in a year. So I don't know.
Well, let's there's just one more quick announcement I wanted to make on that note. I didn't even know this, but Bellator is having a featherweight Grand Prix, and it looks pretty interesting. We've already got Darian Caldwell versus AJ McKee announced, and Weichel, who I'm not familiar with, against Emmanuel Sanchez, I think. Yeah, interesting. I'll definitely be watching. Not always the biggest fan of Bellator, but those are some interesting matchups. I'm interested to see Caldwell versus McKee for sure.
You know what? I will say though, they have probably their best fighter on the roster is a natural featherweight in Pitbull. So
Yeah.
if they can kind of shore up that division around him, then watch out UFC, right?
Yeah, of course. Bellator's got those few marquee divisions that are really quite sensuous, really popping.
Yeah, like I think they have something at featherweight. They have something at lightweight, and I think their welterweight division was pretty good. It's kind of thinning out a little bit with
It's aged.
Yeah,
It's
with
aged.
Rory and obviously
Retirement of
MVP
Fitch.
and-
Yeah.
It is fading a little bit. They still got Name and Gracie. there.
Lima moving up a division.
And Lima moving up a division. So they had something in welterweight, they had something in lightweight, and they had something in featherweight. So
And they've got an interesting enough light heavyweight division, not on the level of the UFC, like maybe their featherweight division is. They got an interesting 135, and they're at the very least their light heavyweight is enough to, it's attractive.
yeah, it's attractive. They got Corey Anderson recently, and then obviously Mr. Wonderful and Ryan Bader and Nemkov. So it's not.
It's not Uggo.
Yeah, it's not Bellator of old where it's like,
If I saw it walking down the street, I'd probably catcall it.
But yeah, cool.
Cool.
I want to talk about Leon Edwards though. I really
Okay. You sure
Quickly.
that's wise, Mike?
Disgraceful.
Don't you have to be somewhere at 4?
Come on, what's
I-
a guy supposed to do?
Okay, quickly, Leon Edwards. I feel so bad for this guy.
Same.
I feel so bad. The UFC did it again. They did it again. Hey, Leon Edwards wants to fight someone in the top 3, as is his right to do, as he earned that ranking, right? So Wonder Boy comes out, and I love Wonder Boy. For the record, I love Wonder Boy. Wonder Boy is my favorite fighter in the UFC, right?
Oh, damn. Karate over Taekwondo. Okay, go on.
Right? I liked Yair Rodriguez, but Yair Rodriguez is interesting personality-wise. But,
I didn't know that.
Huh?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, let's not get sidetracked. Keep going.
Okay, all right. And, Wonder Boy calls Mo, and, Wonder Boy at the time was number 7. Conveniently, he's at number 4 now, but at the time he was at number 7. Right? And Leon says, no. You're at number 7, Junior. I want to face someone in the top 3 because you only have so many fights before you.
But that's a mistake, though.
It was a mistake.
Let me just be devil's advocate, because Wonder Boy's a name that gets you at least closer to a title shot. So that's a mistake from Leon's part. You shouldn't be looking at rankings.
Yeah, I agree. Unfortunately, I agree with David. Like, practically, you never want to take a step back in competition. But at the same time, A, you're right, Wonder Boy's a name. B, this is one of the most marquee divisions in the UFC. And it's unfortunate, but sometimes you have to take the approach of Tony Ferguson, where it's like,
fight everybody.
Yeah, Anthony Pettis, sure. This guy's sure. That guy's sure. Oh, Lando Venata? Okay, why not? And, I understand that you shouldn't have to take short notice matchups. That as a professional, you shouldn't have to, you can justify not taking short notice matchups.
But see, here's the problem.
I think at this point, the greatest, he's got to stay active.
Yeah, no, it's true. I hear your points. But I raise you with this. Let's say you switch out Wonder Boy a situation for, you take out Wonder Boy and you put Colby Covington. Somebody who no one really, truly likes. You know what I'm saying? Are we having the same conversation? I think a lot of people, not you two, because you guys are smart gentlemen, right? But a lot of people, right, I think are having this kind of line of thought because they like Wonder Boy and they don't like Leon. Right?
Because they like Wonder Boy and they don't like Leon.
Because Wonder Boy is one of the most likable guys in the UFC.
Honestly, man, I think one of the problems is people don't even know Leon, unfortunately.
That's the problem, yeah. I feel like the problem is that, and, I want to say this with 100% respect, because I respect all fighters, but also
hashtag respect all fighters.
Respect all hashtag, respect all hashtags also. But,
really? Even
no, we're
like...
not doing this, please. I have to be somewhere for 4.
We haven't even.
Then why'd you get into this point about Leon
Edwards
feel dropping 1 point in the rankings?
I feel
Can we talk about the fights? We got the best fight card ever.
Okay,
and
Mike,
hold on.
No.
Because he got dropped from the rankings. He got dropped from the rankings because they needed someone to fight Hamzat. Right? And they were scrambling. And rather than them being men about it and saying, we're scrambling and we can't find you an opponent, they play hardball with Leon Edwards, take him off the inactivity rankings because they know they were behind the scenes trying to goad him into a fight with Hamzat Chimaev.
The UFC doesn't make the rankings, A. B, with Mike, with you, it's always we get the best card. We get the best card that we've been waiting for all year. We've been waiting for it all year. And Mike's like, this basketball player. Hold on. We can't talk at the same time. And meanwhile, I'm trying to make a joke here. Meanwhile, Mike's like, guys, basketball player X said that he'd rather use a Nelson ball as opposed to a Wilson ball. Let's talk about this for an hour. Oh, wait. Oh, there's a Khabib fight? Oh, I got to go in 15 minutes. Okay, we have 5 minutes for the Khabib fight. This is classic Mike behavior.
Let's do the Khabib fight. Let's do the Khabib.
Jeez, and now I got to pee.
All right. Oh, my Lord. For the record, we have 30 minutes.
Mikey, whose fault is that? Whose fault is that?
You have 30 minutes to talk about Khabib. We've been 19 minutes in. We have 30 minutes left.
Okay, listen, Khabib Nurmagomedov.
Let's go.
Khabib, and I got to pee right now, so I'm going to go through this like a racehorse. Hey,
all right. Don't worry.
I've been saying it for years.
There's a water bottle. Go ahead, man.
You could just open your mouth. Okay, so get that warm AJ. I've been saying this for years. I think Gaethje is the man to beat Khabib. Now, after studying some footage, there's a couple of things that make me a little more cautious to make super confident predictions. I still stay firm in my belief that Gaethje is going to win. Couple of things. You guys mind if I take lead on this one?
For the record, I have the what do you call it?
Yes.
The screen up right now, so they can see the screen. Peoples can see the screen.
Peoples,
yeah.
Various peoples of the world.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a couple of things.
Can I see the screen?
Well, no,
No,
because
no,
then
you
Abner
can't.
takes away from the screen. But
You're,
like,
you're not entitled to that, David. So
no, it's just a thing. Hold on. Let me go back to Stefano. Stefano, take the lead. Go ahead.
Oh, hi. What's up? No, I didn't mean you had to take me off the screen. I meant I'm just going to keep talking.
Okay.
So you can put that back. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Get a nice visual of Khabib Nurmagomedov.
Boy, he looked drained on the scale, though.
Did he? Yeah, that's to be expected.
Yeah, he cuts a lot.
So a couple of things really gave me confidence as far as Gaethje's style for him being able to win this fight. And people have made too much of a big deal out of the wrestling. And that's one of the things that really worries me about Khabib now going into this fight, the language that the fighters have been using. Khabib saying, yes, he's a good wrestler, but like wrestling is not as offensive a part of his style as, and these are all I completely agree with Khabib, not as offensively a part of his style as it is in mine. I'm a better wrestler. I've shown that I'm more active with my wrestling and my fights. Completely agree, right? Nobody's disputing that, I don't think, unless you're crazy. As far as Gaethje, what he's saying is, I cannot get, and this gave me so much confidence.
Yeah.
I cannot get outside of that black warning track.
I loved it.
If I
Loved
get,
that language.
He's like, if I go against the cage, I may have lost this fight. I need to stay. So I think Gaethje understands where the battle is going to take place. I'm talking first order of takedown defense, people. Mike, what's the first order of takedown defense?
movement.
Movement. Move your damn feet. Okay? What Gaethje has showed in his past couple of fights, especially the Ferguson fight, his ability to take a step backwards, evade, control the center of the cage, those are all well and good. Now, I'm going to amend my opinion because, I've talked about before in the past how the stance switching and the footwork and his ability to control distance, his awareness within the cage are all elements that are going to play dividends for Gaethje. Now, I rewatched the Barbosa fight recently. Now, in between rounds, Mark Henry is hammering home, you need to stay inside of that warning track. You need to stay inside of that warning track. Now, why do you think that didn't work for Barbosa?
No, I don't know, actually.
So Barbosa is not a very fleet of foot fighter, A, but B, he's a fighter who loads up. You need to give him space. He's at his best when he's at distance, loading up, right? Throwing big weapons, keeping you guessing as to where they're coming from. He doesn't respond well to pressure. Now, if you were going to counter that pressure, you would need to A, be fleet of foot, and B, you need weapons, jamming weapons, right? Jab to the body, front kick. Weapons that just seemingly weren't in his arsenal. So Barbosa's answer was, when Khabib pressures me, I'm going to bite down on my mouthpiece and I'm going to swing. I'm going to try and time him coming in. Now, one thing I noticed about that fight...
Oh, I thought you were talking about Barbosa versus Amir Khani for some reason. Yeah, no, this makes sense.
I feel it feels like another lifetime since that fight took place.
Yeah, Khabib versus where Barbosa looked like he was being held up for ransom.
It was I feel uncomfortable watching that fight. I'm like, please make it stop. But
But credit to
Khabib-
Barbosa, he didn't back down. He kept going. But
so on Gaethje, yeah, credit to Barbosa, absolutely. He's as tough as they come. Gaethje, I think, for that reason, is going to need not only his footwork, because Khabib is going to be relentless and he's tough. Nobody talks about that. Khabib needs physical toughness to make his style work. He needs it. Barbosa timed him with flying, with a knee coming in. He hit him with that wheel kick several times. And Khabib, on the feet, I think it was 33 to 27, 28, as far as strikes landed on the feet. So Barbosa was landing at a fairly even clip to Khabib. The problem is he was landing the wrong kinds of strikes. Is it possible that Khabib gets timed with a shot as he's advancing and gets knocked out?
see, this is the one
Sure.
thing that I like about Gaethje, though. He has that uppercut where he just frames and he throws that rear uppercut and
You use the magic F word, Mike. Frame. So,
Oh my God! Is that? Oh geez. Okay. Is this?
real quick,
it's not possible.
what's that?
It's. I don't think it's possible actually
To-
because
To time him in and hurt him? Exactly. Yes. I'd agree.
I just.
That's my point.
I actually agree with you. I think Khabib's too tough.
At the very least, it's possible. I wouldn't bank a strategy around it. I think what.
No, yeah. Let me not say it's not possible. Anything is possible.
But I wouldn't base my fight
not-
strategy around it.
Exactly. It's not likely. I mean, I don't know the best way to beat Khabib. No, but what I would say is, I agree with you. I think what Khabib does really well is closing that distance, no matter how good a striker you think you are. And everybody finds themselves in between those black lines and pressed up against the cage. So it's more when you get to that position, what are you going to do? So you can't build it. And I don't want to judge Justin Gaethje, and he might go out and prove me wrong and everybody wrong. But chances are, I mean, look at Dustin Poirier. He is a very educated, experienced fighter. He clearly had a game plan of what to do with the fight. I think he was supposed to be the better striker as well. But the fight doesn't play out like that because Khabib doesn't give you a chance.
It's the nuke in your back pocket, right? I agree, and I think that clearly this game plan of how to fight Khabib is known. I think that some people do and don't have the potential weapons to execute it. One thing I think Gaethje can use, because I think diverting the pressure through footwork is one option, but I think against Khabib that's not going to be enough. I think you need one more option because he can relentlessly pressure you and has the toughness and the ability. I would just say the toughness to eat some shots and carry it out to its fullest extent while you get tired. I think he's also going to have to use some of those straight punches to the body that he used in the Ferguson fight to jam Khabib and maybe slow down the pressure.
Mm-hmm. Well, look, here's the thing I will say though about Gaethje is he has been saying all the right things. He has been in training doing all the right things. At least from my perspective of how would you approach Khabib. He's been doing the right things. But here's the thing.
Saying the right things too, yeah.
Yeah, he's been saying the right things. Trevor Whitman's been saying the right things. They've been practicing the right things. Here's the thing, though. Khabib has said the right things too in the sense that he's saying, hey, man, bring the wrestling shoes. Bring the headgear and bring the singlet. Because we're not stopping the wrestling. We are not going to just go one shot. We're not going to hang with you on the feet. Be prepared for the wrestling. And the one thing about Justin Gaethje that I think a lot of people don't talk about is when you force Gaethje to grapple, he gets tired.
He does. Now, I agree, and the thing is, Khabib's not someone who's going to give up and fall back on another plan if you defend one shot of his, right? He's going to be... Barbosa defended takedown attempts of his.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you
block
it doesn't matter. Or if you stuff one takedown. Like, the takedown doesn't... I mean, how many times... You guys know way more than me when it comes to this, but it's not about, at least with Khabib's takedown, and even somewhat Khamzat Chimaev, but it's the style of takedowns where I'm not shooting to get you with this takedown. I'm shooting to close the distance, eventually drain you, get you off balance, and then get you into the position that I'm ready to, almost like the takedown begins when you hit the mat, almost, if that makes any sense.
100%, yeah, exactly, because then you have your when you reground your opponent. Mat returns. Yeah, you've got your mat returns. Cormier very much too is in the same mold. Different weapons, different takedowns he picks, but yeah, it's not that Tyron Woodley, Yoel Romero style of I'm going to overwhelm you with good timing and a beautiful shot. It's chain wrestling, man. I wanted to ask you guys something because it became clear to me that this new Gaethje is, first of all, he's dangerous in every range. He's dangerous kicking the leg from the outside and the calf. He's dangerous in the clinch, right? That post uppercut you were talking about.
Yeah, I love it.
The collar tie. Remember how he finished Cerrone from that collar tie? He's brutal in there. And he's a good boxer. He's got a solid left hook. A solid left hook. Slips to the inside and just double left hook. I wanted to ask you guys this. Do you think with the pressure of Khabib, how do you think Gaethje is going to get off his leg kicks, if at all, in this fight?
That's the thing. I really like his leg kicks in this fight. I really do. Because
where do you think he lands them from?
Boxing range. And that's why. Because he can throw them from boxing range. It's not the traditional Muay Thai style, I'm going to throw it from out here in kicking range. He does a weird thing where he kind of has a hitch in his kick, but it's almost to his benefit where he comes up almost... It's weird because it's the knee-high traditional style, but it's not the same because he kind of swings his hip over.
Up and down, right?
Yeah, and it just...
Like chopping the tree with the axe style.
Yeah, right? And
he even lands those from the clinch sometimes.
Exactly.
Double collar tie position.
Exactly. And so because of that, it's not the same where it's Khabib's going to just grab one and then he's going to be... It's one of those ones where... The timing is going to be weird. I don't know if Khabib's planned for this. We're all talking in conjecture. We don't know if Khabib... But those leg kicks, I think I really like for Gaethje in this situation, actually.
Sure. I think, here's my opinion. I think they're... Especially the calf kick in this fight I like as well, because it's just from that weird range. If Khabib brings the sort of pressure that he brought against, like, let's say, a Barbosa, I think what Gaethje is going to need to do is slow Khabib down before he starts throwing the leg kicks. Because throwing leg kicks off of the back foot's never a good idea. He's going to time it and shoot off of it, right? I think if you can slow Khabib's pressure down a bit and find the spots where he's stagnant, then you start ripping those low kicks.
Yeah, I find what I've noticed in the few Khabib fights that I've watched is at least in the beginning of the round, there's still a little bit of figuring out process where Khabib's standing in range, and I feel like he's susceptible then for leg kicks. So
Yes.
I think I agree that he probably could get some off then. I just think it doesn't take long for Khabib to figure out how to get a shot in on you or to close that distance. And before you know, you're up against the cage and you're trying to figure out how you're gonna. You're not getting out.
Hey, it's crazy, right? It's uncanny his ability to figure that out. Like,
and it's almost crazy because it gets like that figuring out time gets shorter with each round. I think like the Conor McGregor fight is a perfect example because like the first round there was almost like a minute of like stand up and then Khabib just like closes and it's done. But like the more the rounds went on, the more you were like, oh, I don't know.
Habib just finds a way to break people, though.
to break people, yeah, he can start. Okay, yeah, go on. Mike.
No, I was gonna say it's. Look, this is where I really like Gaethje is that I don't know a guy who is unbreakable as much as Gaethje in this division.
I agree.
Find me the guy.
Tony Ferguson was supposed to be that
You're right.
guy.
You're right.
Yeah.
Tony's unbreakable as well. I would agree
It's
with
a
that.
different kind of unbreakable, though. It's a different kind of unbreakable. For example, and this is why I just think the beauty of fighting is styles make fights, right? So,
Guys, I gotta pee. I'll be right back.
go for it. I love it because you think about like Gaethje versus Poirier, for example. The style matchup there was one that favored Poirier because he was able to kind of outthink Gaethje in that fight.
Mm-hmm.
But then you look at like what's it called, Ferguson versus Gaethje, and you would think that Ferguson with his like skill set would just be too much for Gaethje, but Gaethje's for some reason able to almost like, I don't want to say out tough, but almost get or tap into that instinct of Ferguson to brawl with people. You know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting to see what side of Khabib Gaethje draws out, if that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. But we haven't seen a brawl yet with Khabib. It's always been just pretty one note. So that's why I have a feeling it's going to be like that, and it's going to be how does Gaethje respond, because he's not going to be able to take it to his comfort zone, which is brawling. He's going to have to think his way out. And I don't know. I hear of his wrestling background, but I'm just like, I don't know. How does that like stack up against what's... and I'm not the first person to say this, and you guys definitely know more about this, but the thing about Khabib's wrestling is like, it's almost like it feels from seeing it like uncoached wrestling. It's almost like watching like an animal, in the best of terms, just like devour something naturally, if that makes any sense. Like,
it's a different style. It's definitely a different style. It's not this American style. I wouldn't even say it's a traditional Russian style of wrestling. It's a very... It's different. It's
so
built
fluid because he's going for your legs, he's going for your neck at the same time, like he's dragging you across the place, but at the same time he's keeping you pinned against the cage. Like it's just like it's a super interesting. Well, there's so many think pieces on how Khabib wrestles, but my thing is that it doesn't seem like he's thinking about it when he's wrestling. As opposed to Justin Gaethje, which I don't know I don't know too much. I'd have to go back to the tape and see his wrestling. Like,
we don't see much of it.
Yeah, I have to see where he's been forced to wrestling. Is he like an instinctive wrestler, or is he like a thinking wrestler?
He's a defensive oriented wrestler, even in
MMA at least.
Even in his NCAA days, a lot of his stuff was counter wrestling, right?
You know what's funny though? If you go back to his WSOF days, back in World Series of Fighting, he used to have some really cool takedowns where like, when I was trying to introduce people to Justin Gaethje, like tell my friends to watch him, I'd be like, think of Wanderlei Silva, but with really dangerous leg kicks and slams. Mm-hmm. Like, that's basically what he was. You know, and he actually had some cool slams back in the day, but again, we haven't seen those.
Yeah.
You know, it's irrelevant at this point. But
I
yeah,
mean,
he has good framing abilities. He has good takedown offense from, you know.
It just seems whenever he faces a on par or better wrestler, he doesn't go to the slams as much. He's an explosive guy, right? And I think that's the problem. And even when he gets back up, look, if he's going to get back up the way he usually gets up, where he almost gives his back away, right? He's going to be in trouble.
Yeah,
he's going to be in trouble.
Potentially.
He's got to use some butterfly guard. He's got to do something off his back. And this is why Tony Ferguson was such a intriguing matchup for me, because it was like Tony is going to be okay with being on the bottom.
Well, I think as far as the butterfly guard and stuff goes, I think for our considerations here, I wouldn't say it's irrelevant, but for me, it's not what's interesting about this matchup. Because I think Gaethje, for me, is an exciting matchup, not because of his potential to get off the mat, but his potential to avoid the takedowns altogether, out at range, first order. Tony was interesting, and I think less interesting. Personally, I still love to see that fight. I just mean less interesting as a challenge to Khabib's dominance. He's more, not even what he offers isn't really even takedown defense, although he's got his Granby rolls, which can be pretty cool. I think it's danger from his back.
That's exactly my point.
Yeah.
That was exactly my point.
But
right?
I think
the thing,
go for it.
Sorry, I was going to say the thing about that Tony Ferguson matchup is, unfortunately, what the Gaethje fight has proven is that I think if that fight did take place, Khabib is so tough that he would really just beat on Ferguson.
David, I'm going to be completely disagree with you. I don't think there's anything about the Khabib fight we can learn from the Gaethje fight. Like, they're just, it's
interesting.
Yeah, man. It's Khabib. Yeah, Khabib's tough, but it's like,
I think just Gaethje had a great game plan and outfoxed them.
Yeah, there's no resemblance between the way Gaethje fights and the way Khabib fights, right? And styles make fights.
Also, the other thing is, like, Tony Ferguson didn't really get a camp for Gaethje. You know what I'm saying? Like a great, like, long-term camp. And they were probably looking at some footage of WSOF and his early UFC days. And because you can't really gauge anything from one round of Barbosa and one round of...
I think in the early rounds he performed well. I think he won the first 2 rounds and then just got brutalized in the last...
In the last 2 and then... Sorry, 3.
3, yeah, because it ended in the 5th. One thing I will say is I think this fight is going to come to who can impose their version of attrition. They're both looking to employ attrition tactics. Khabib, we all know how he does it. He gets you up against the fence, takes you down repeatedly, locks that hand behind your... By the way, have you seen anyone that has as good shot selection on the floor as Khabib as far as his ground and pound? Oh my God, he's so creative. I was so thoroughly impressed.
John Jones?
Yes, early John Jones. That's fair. We don't really see as much of it as I would like, but that's true. Back in the day, John Jones had phenomenal shot selection on the ground. But
using a basketball term such as shot selection. Wow.
Shot selection's an MMA term as well. Means something different. Nice try. Basketball's not a sport.
I'm very impressed with you, man.
I'm not impressed by your performance. But and then obviously Gaethje's going to try and impose his version of attrition as well. That's my take on it.
True. I mean, look, I think it's going to be a very interesting matchup. I'm really excited for it. I think it's going to do. First of all, I think it's going to do well in terms of the casual fan base, but even the hardcores, this is the right fight to make when you're supposed to make it, and it's going to be a fight that I'm super interested in.
And I think if Gaethje can't beat him, I don't think anyone does, to be honest with you. I think he retires undefeated. I think he would even beat George St. Pierre at this point. Not that I don't think prime George St. Pierre wouldn't have beat him. I do. But,
he hasn't fought in like a long-ass time.
Yeah, and he's 40-something. It's like he's a little bit past it.
He's angling for that GSP fight. And I think that's a fight to make, realistically. After this, I don't think he has anything. He's 29-0. Like, his 30-0 would be... Well, if he wins this... Yeah, his 30-0 would be the GSP fight. I mean, is there a better MMA career? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think there's one that as unblemished and like you can say, oh, he didn't capture a second title in a different weight class. I don't care. 55's the deepest weight class in the game.
Yeah. Who cares?
Come on. But he has to get through Gaethje. Right? And so
and then Straight-Chi.
Yeah. Okay, so
and Baichi.
So let's talk about what
criminally underlooked.
Yeah, this matchup between Jared Cannonier And Robert Whittaker.
Did you say straight G?
Yeah, I said straight G and by
Oh
G.
my god!
Don't entertain
Shame
it.
on you.
Don't entertain it.
What do you mean?
Don't entertain
We're
it.
seeing Justin Gaethje, but if he maybe Khabib will have to fight straight G and by G next because I think they present their own kind of like
Shame on you.
sexually diverse
Shame on
challenges.
you.
Oh, jeez. Please. Don't entertain him, David. Don't entertain him. Okay. Jack Cannonier and Robert Whittaker. Winner gets the title shot.
Man, first of all, I'm just going to start off by saying I don't think we saw the best of Whittaker in that Adesanya fight. Not that I think he can present Adesanya some problems, but I think we didn't see the best version of Whittaker that we could have seen in that fight. And
Why doesn't he stutter step anymore, Stefano?
Whittaker?
Yeah.
I don't know. He seemed like a satire of himself in that
Yeah.
Adesanya fight. It was just blitzing for the sake of blitzing, you know?
Yeah. Remember when he used to stutter step? And
Oh,
then
yeah.
He used to throw that low oblique kick, and then
Remember when he used to throw the front kick into the left hook?
yeah.
Oh.
Right.
That was one loss, guys. Like, come on. I actually completely agree with Stefano. I think that was I don't want to say really bad performance because, who am I to judge? But
Not
I think
optimal.
even Robert Whittaker would say like he could have done better.
Oh, of course.
He did. He's like, oh, my head wasn't fully in the fight at the time. I think that I was getting tired and a little burnt out, and I need to take some time off.
Solid impression. You're getting better day by day.
Mate,
Solid.
he's incapable of talking trash. Mate, I'm accustomed to fighting. I like this.
That's really good.
Yeah, no, that's actually kind of solid. But okay, no, I agree with you guys. I think we're just kind of, I guess semantically I kind of worded it wrong. What I'm trying to say though is that he didn't do the things that like make Robert Whittaker such a challenge and made him have that unbelievable run to win the middleweight championship in the first place.
Yeah,
right?
craft the perfect game plan to beat
Right.
Yoel Romero. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
Twice, although that second one was hella close.
The thing is that he's still really good. He's realistically he's coming off like one major loss. I mean, I know he just won before this. I mean, I can't even remember who he fought. Jacare? Was that the Jacare fight? Or?
He beat Jacare. He beat he beat most of the division. Uriah Hall, Derek Brunson. He beat a Murderer's Row. There was another.
Rafael Natal was in there.
Yeah, I'm missing a big name here though. But yeah, he had a very impressive run.
Yeah. No, he beat a lot of guys to get there, and it was an unbelievable run. There's another name.
The Darren Till. I'm thinking of Darren Till.
He did beat Darren Till.
Darren Till before this.
Which showed me, which honestly, a lot of people didn't love that fight. I loved it. I thought that showed us a new patient side to Robert Whittaker, where he's comfortable with inactivity,
But
comfortable
again,
with taking a step back and not necessarily.
And that's the kind of Robert Whittaker that's going to be effective against Adesanya, I feel, anyway, as opposed to somebody who's trying to blitz in and rush and, catch him with something.
Exactly, yeah. The blitzes have their place, but you don't need to be blitzing all the time because then it gets predictable, and that's what we saw. Adesanya began to time the blitz, and let's be honest, there's few people in the world, even still, with that not optimal version of Robert Whittaker that would be able to lean back at the hips the way that Adesanya did and counter with those odd, like...
They were like shovel hooks, but not really.
From a square position,
Yeah.
almost from like a horse stance. Like, there's nobody else in the world that could do that. But you're going to need a little bit more patience and a little bit more feinting, a little bit more
But see,
of
that
an
was the
indirect
thing.
approach to beat Adesanya.
But that was the thing. How many times against Darren Till did you see Robert Whittaker truly feint Darren Till into something? It was, oh, you're going to do something here, and I'm going to catch you with a blitz, right? I'm going to fake a takedown, and then I'm going to throw one shot over the top, and then kind of like pendulum step my way out of it.
Mm-hmm.
There was no kind of way that Robert Whittaker caught someone with their pants down to initiate a sequence, right? And
interesting. I'm gonna have to rewatch. The
yeah,
fight.
I would
recall that.
say
Good take. That's a good point.
yeah, rewatch it because there was no kind of like, oh, I'm gonna feint here and land my straight right that he likes to do. There was no kind of overhand left, right, fake into a takedown.
Let me rewatch this because I'm curious. That's not how I remembered it. But
Because I don't remember him doing I remember it being very, very high level, very technical, a very patient Robert Whittaker who would use his feet to get there until slipping, but he wasn't using fakes and feints the way I'm accustomed to seeing Robert Whittaker use him.
Interesting.
Up until he fought, I would say Adesanya. So I think that this is a guy who's not, using the full arsenal as much as he used to. And I don't know if it's just kind of, you know it. Like, every once in a while, you just get stagnant creatively when it comes to striking and jiu-jitsu. Like, you're going for things that you like, right? Without realizing what got you to the dance in the first place, why they're the things you like,
Yeah.
And so I think for Robert Whittaker, I'm not saying he's going to lose against Jared Cannonier because of it, but I'm saying Jared Cannonier is going to be...
That's the thing. We haven't even talked about Jared Cannonier's style and how he matches up in this fight. But I guess we're all big Whittaker fans here.
Yeah, no, honestly, because, I just think this is Whittaker's fight. No disrespect to Jared Cannonier, who's really had obviously a resurgence in his career. And I'm going to be honest, I did not expect him to win the fight, before this, which was against, what's that guy's name?
Jack the Joker? Boy, he pooped the...
I was not expecting that at all. So,
Jack Hermanson tends to be put off with very hard hitters.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And once again, you talk about Robert Whittaker being top of the division. Who do you think wins in a matchup between Jack Hermanson and Robert Whittaker? I mean, my money's on Whittaker.
You know what's crazy? I really like Hermanson in that matchup.
Oh.
You're crazy.
I thought so, but like, Jack Hermanson's dangerous on the ground. Like, dangerous.
He is. But mind you, as far as Whittaker goes, in this fight, I'd like to see him make Cannonier swing and miss on his counters.
That's my thing.
I'd like to see him get back to that side kick and that oblique kick that he used in the Yoel Romero fight. Attrition over time, defeat, kind of bait out the counter strikes of Cannonier, and then pick him apart. As far as Cannonier, I'd like to see him get to the leg kick often and early, and maybe try and crowd Whittaker. I'm not entirely sure.
But see, this is the thing,
which is a difficult task for anyone to do.
But this is the thing I really like about Cannonier in this way, and this is why I think he has more than a chance against Robert Whittaker here. Is Cannonier is not the speediest guy, but he's a guy who's got excellent timing.
Excellent timing. So
timing.
What do you think then? You think maybe Cannonier should wait for Whittaker, come to him, draw out the blitz and counter it like
exactly,
Adesanya did?
Because here's the thing about Whittaker. If he's not going to be feinting and faking here, and he's just going to blitz him, I think there's a legitimate, reasonable chance that Cannonier can win this fight.
Interesting.
A legitimate chance. Now, is it 100%? No. If you had to put a gun in my head, I would say Whittaker. I think Whittaker is the cream of the crop in the division, other than Adesanya. But I really, truly think that Jared Cannonier has more than a puncher's chance here. I think he can legitimately win. I think it's 55-45.
There's some people as well where, as far as the blitz goes, they're gifted with such power that Cannonier could potentially hang back weight, and then anything that comes at his way, he just swings at it. If Whittaker's not feinting convincingly and he's just relying on the blitz, Cannonier could probably just cover up and swing. Yeah. That's why you've got to keep a man like this guessing, because when you have god-tier power in your hands and kicks.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's my thing. I think Cannonier could definitely knock out Whittaker because he's got the power. I agree with the timing. He's, for somebody who used to fight in heavyweight, he's not as slow as you would think. So, I think, I don't know if he quite has the movement of Whittaker, but in terms of...
Yeah, Whittaker's movement's cream of the crop.
Yeah, but will he gas out, or will he not be able to keep up
that's
with
the thing.
Whittaker?
I don't know.
You can't chase him. I think you can't. You will gas out if you start chasing Whittaker. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, because Cannonier showed I don't know. I have to go back and look at his records and look at his fights. But what I would say is that Whittaker, I think his path to victory is his strength in terms of the deftness of his style. I think if he can be set things up and be cute with the striking, then
be cute with the striking.
No,
Adorable.
that's what I mean.
Yeah,
what I mean?
He's the most kawaii striker. I know what you're saying, but I just thought it was funny because he's the most kawaii striker in the division.
Oh my God! Did you really use kawaii? Did you really?
Yeah, the basketball player for the
stop.
the Montreal Expos, Kawhi Leonard. So, anyways.
All right, real quickly, Alexander Volkov versus Walt Harris.
Alexander Volkov, why are you breaking my heart? I thought he was a legitimate threat in the division. Then you go get knocked out by Derek Lewis. Come on, son.
In fairness, he was dominating the whole way until that happened.
He was, and then he just had a poor choice of strike. A knee out at range. For why?
A step in knee because Derek Lewis was dipping low. You know?
Yeah, Walt Harris has looked improved. I liked him up until in the Overeem fight up until I didn't.
Yeah.
I think this really is how disciplined will Volkov be fighting behind his straight weapons, behind that front kick of his. And, Walt Harris is going to have to take a beating to the body in order to get in on him and potentially use his wrestling. I'd like to see Walt Harris maximize what I view to be a wrestling advantage, but we'll have to see how effective Volkov is at jamming him and how effective Walt Harris is at circling those distance-maintaining weapons.
Well, I think the thing about Walt Harris for me that kind of gives me pause to say, oh, he's got the striking advantage against Volkov is that Walt Harris has great hand speed, but he doesn't really have much of a kicking game, and he attacks in straight lines, and he's very easily you can angle off of him, right? So.
Wait, did you say Volkov doesn't have much of a kicking game?
No, sorry, Harris, right? And you can angle off of him, and I think Volkov is just is one of the few pure technicians on the feet, in this division.
At heavyweight, sure.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. No. That's what I was gonna say. I think in terms of striking advantage, I would definitely give it to Volkov, just because if I'm not mistaken, he has a kickboxing background, and we saw what he did to Greg Hardy, who
Hard Greggy.
Yeah, Hard Greggy. Hard Greggy. Who has a similar background to Walt Harris, that same football, I guess, ground and pound style. Not even ground and pound.
Wait, hold on. A football ground and pound style. He is a football ground and pounder fighting out of Phoenix, Arizona.
That is definitely a style.
And football ground and pounder?
It's definitely a style.
No, I don't. Please elaborate.
Whenever someone mentions another sport, it grinds you to your gears.
No, it doesn't. It's just that football ground and pounder is not a style of MMA.
Hilarious.
He's trying to say that he's a physical guy, and I get the point, right? It's just
has a football background. A lot of those football skills translate into MMA skills sometimes.
Explosive, physical. I get the point you're trying to say.
I
get what you're trying to say. The problem with Stefano is because he doesnn't like other sports, when you mention another sport in the context of MMA, he gets defensive.
The problem with Stefano is that he understands fighting far too well.
No. The problem with Stefano is that unless your parents were literally turning your diaper into a gi of some sort and you've been training jiu-jitsu for 20 years, he doesn't respect anything.
That's fair.
Yeah. But anyway,
Call it
what
like
I
it
was
is.
say is that Volkov has done well with Greg Hardy before, so I don't know. I like his chances.
Yeah, if you're going to straight line Volkov, it's not going to work. That's why I'm trying to say.
And Walt Harris, with all due respect, I don't want to say lost. I think he showed the limitations of his striking against Overeem, because I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like against Volkov,
Walt Harris's game is limited. That's what I was trying to say. It is limited. But he's got a lot of great tools, though. He does. Well, I do, gentlemen. We do have to kind of cut this short because I edit this thing and I gotta go.
You don't want to talk about Ian Kudaleba versus Ankalaev?
Well,
part 6.
No. Magomed Ankalaev is gonna go in there and beat him because here's the thing about this this matchup. Ian Kudaleba did kind of the what do you call it? Kind of the
rope-a-dope.
That rope-a-dope.
I'm hurt on the ropes.
Yeah, he did the rope-a-dope to draw Magomed Ankalaev from who has a very comprehensive counter game. He's got a very comprehensive counter game, and it was working. But now, because the ref stopped it due to that rope-a-dope, Ian Kudaleba is going to be a lot more hesitant to do it, and Magomed Ankalaev is not going to be a lot more hesitant to get out of that.
Yeah. That was really a rabbit in the hat kind of trick, I think.
Yeah, right.
I think Ankalaev is by far the more sophisticated striker.
Exactly. And probably the better wrestler, too, if you really think about it. Yeah. So I just think that, I don't see a path for Kudaleba to actually legitimately win this one.
That's fair.
And so, therefore, Ankalaev is going to win. I don't care. And you know what? Honestly, the sizzle of this matchup has lost a long time ago with this coronavirus positive.
Yeah, Kudaleba tested positive for coronavirus twice. Good sir, stay out of crowded areas, please.
This man was definitely in the club chilling.
Yeah, you're the Hulk. You're not the I don't know.
I don't know where you were going with that one.
Yeah. One more announcement I wanted to make. Oh, we have Jeremy's take today. You guys ready?
All right. Go ahead.
Hey guys, this is Jeremy Asiffo. Here for Jeremy's take. Today, I just basically wanted to talk about how football players shouldn't be eating meat. Unless you're a lineman or a linebacker, you don't really need to be eating too much meat. Okay, if you're a quarterback, you should be a vegan. Okay, and that was Jeremy's take.
Jeremy's take.
Great take, Jeremy. Great job.
Yeah, awesome. All right, gotta wrap this up. Stefano, you want to threaten children or no?
Yeah, I'll threaten some children.
All right.
Guys.
Make it quick.
Yeah, make it quick. Guys, subscribe, comment, like, do what you can, tell your friends about the Leg Kick podcast. And if you can, please subscribe to us, or else we will send the mighty fleet of the British Empire upon you and kidnap your children and sell them into slavery. So, with that being said, subscribe, like, comment, and we here at the Leg Kick podcast will see you next week. David's like hilarious. Shout out to the British Empire, man.
Slavery jokes. What is going on? No, we at the Leg Kick are anti-slavery. Just putting that out there.
Except for Jeremy, he's pro-slavery.
Please.
Jeremy's the Candace Owens of this podcast.
I'm telling you.
Jeremy, stop listening to Candace Owens, man. Okay.
All right. In this crazy mixed up world where Stefano all of a sudden is going to sell you to slavery, I don't know where that came from. Just remember, you got three things. You got life, you got family, and this podcast. Stay safe, everybody.